Hi friends, today I will show you the second episode from the series Soldiers' Memoirs, which is based on the conversations of the writer Konstantin Simonov and Konstantin Simonov, who served as scouts during the Great Patriotic War and participated in raids in the German rear. How it was, you will learn from this video. Most often, 5 or 10 people went to the reconnaissance, and Konstantin Simonov remembered the raid of their reconnaissance and sabotage group, all 300 scouts for 8 days behind enemy lines. Listen carefully to this person. He has done great things, but he is quite modest at the same time. We were alerted to the task one of the nights. It was completely unexpected for us. Maybe this was due to the fact that the command wanted to carry out the operation covertly. We had drivers in each division, driver specialists, but they didn't drive cars. They just were, so they were listed. They could drive. Yes, they could. They had a driver's license and so on. On the eve of this assignment, of course, we didn't know why, for what purpose, these drivers were taken away. The drivers disappeared. But it was unnoticed. We had it all the time. Some went on a mission, others came back, and it didn't cause any surprise, questions, and so on. When we arrived to perform this task at the front edge, it meant there were German vehicles, large vehicles that carry infantry, with canvas tops, diesel vehicles, and several armored personnel carriers. And if I understand correctly, it means that you already met with your drivers at night, already in these cars. Yes, they were already in the cars. So it was a whole German column, wasn't it? Yes, a whole column, motorcycles, armored personnel carriers and cars. Only inside there were not Germans, but Red Army soldiers. Yes, that's right. And how did your assignment begin? Firstly, the head of the intelligence department of the 56th Army, Lieutenant Colonel Arshinov, arrived, and our command was also there. The Lieutenant Colonel, the head of the intelligence department of the 56th Army, said that we were going on a raid on the German rear. The task is very responsible and important. He wished us a good journey. There were walkie-talkies and so on. In general, they were obviously preparing for this raid. 2 regiments broke through the front and we were led into this opening. That's how our raid began. The first task we performed was to release our prisoners of war, not far from the front line. Apparently they were used for defensive work, and the Germans were preparing to destroy them. There were 2 such barracks, they were locked, the barracks were already lined with straw, gasoline was prepared, obviously it was planned for the morning. But we raided at night, the guards were killed. Of these soldiers they appointed a senior and sent them to the forest. And you moved on, right? Oh, we went to catch up with the main column ourselves. Well, as they say, we made a decent noise with this column. We also carried out responsible tasks. In particular, 1 German airfield was destroyed and, in my opinion, the division headquarters. Have the planes been hijacked at the airfield? The planes were burned, some were shot. Not a single plane took off. It was at night. And how did you capture the division headquarters? Yes, they captured the division headquarters. There was a general there, in my opinion some kind of German, there were senior officers. Our main task was to destroy manpower, to cause panic, to carry out disorganization. And the Germans, were they taken out for interrogation or destroyed there on the spot? We sent them to the forest too. In particular, this general was sent to the forest with his wounded guards and a small number of the able soldiers. They were sent with a walkie-talkie and they were there while our command was deciding what to do next. When this division headquarters was destroyed, in my opinion, someone even arrived by plane from the command of the Soviet army to interrogate, right? Yes, for questioning. And you went further. And we went ahead. And for all 7 or 8 days, we particularly did not close our eyes. So we performed the task at night and hid during the day. What kind of dream during the day? Firstly, we were constantly on alert because the Germans were all around. Secondly, it was impossible not to eat normally. Bonfires. Fire was not allowed at all and period. We ate therefore dry rations. Well, 7 or 8 days on dry ration is not so easy. Well, in general, the tension was great. On the last night, we no longer had the strength. If a soldier would fall down, he was not able to get back to his feet. We were battered, ragged, and with overgrown beards. And at the end of the operation, there were only 18 people alive and well. And were there any officers left among them? No, the officers were all wounded. The senior sergeant was left alone. The oldest, it turns out. And the company commander? The company commander was also seriously wounded. Both legs were broken. He was evacuated. Well, and the end of the task, how was it? We had a walkie-talkie. We had several of them. So by the end, there was one left. The senior sergeant obviously reported, which meant the head of the intelligence department, Lieutenant Colonel Arshinov, has arrived. And then he saw us. The senior sergeant had lined everyone up properly, then reported to him. This Lieutenant Colonel Arshinov, having looked at us, turned away, and in my opinion shed tears, and wiped them away. Well, imagine sending 300 people, all of them were guys in uniform and so on, so they were fine, dressed, equipped, armed, and there were only 18 left. Then he turned around, when he came to himself a little, congratulated us on all the excellent performance of the combat mission, told us that everyone would be awarded, the people who participated in this operation, told us where to arrive, and then he left. 18 soldiers completed the task to the end, 70 died, and all the rest went to the medical units and hospitals, where later they received their rewards for the feat. Thank you for watching this video. It was Oleg and the Red Army channel. Write your comments and don't forget to put likes.